Got another free sewing pattern here. Go to modernhomemakers.com. I will put a link in the description and print off your free pattern. There are 3 pages, and what we're going to do is follow the big black line here, and then there's the little triangle on this one. The cutout is pretty basic. There's a notch here. If you want, you can just do it on the fabric. I'm going to go ahead and show you here so I don't forget. So you basically just cut the inverse of the triangle in here if you haven't worked with sewing patterns before. So that's what that looks like. But I'll come back in a minute when I have these all cut out. So if you look on the little pattern pieces, you'll see a little circle with A and B. And what we're going to do, it says on both pieces, but we're going to connect them right where it says connect A to B. So line up as good as you can. You know, if you didn't cut perfectly, it's not going to be perfect, but you know, I'm a close enough type of person. So just put in a couple pieces of tape. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to toss this as soon as you're done with your project, probably. So that is all that we're connecting. And the little piece C, the little triangle, just don't tape it to anything. Now we got to go get our fabric. We are going to Disney World, so I wanted to make drawstring bags for everyone, and you know, obviously licensed prints of Disney were the way to go. So this is Eowyn's bag, and she's just a big Frozen addict, of course. So you need 3/4 of a yard. I mean, if you have stuff at home you're trying to work with, you could turn it different ways and get creative, but this is 3/4 of a yard. And go ahead and zoom out for a second. What we're going to do, you can see the selvage is down here, and this is where the fold is, and I'm just going to fold it in half again, and then that 3/4 is going to give us our 2 panels that we need. So now my fold is over here, and so you can see it is really 2 layers, which is what we need, because on our pattern piece we've got cut 2 on fold. So I'm going to take the fold and put it over here. So this is not the fold that was originally on our fabric. It's a new fold I created here. And we're going to pin all the way around. And the only tricky thing is making sure you cut this notch over here, because that's one of our sewing symbols, to not sew past that point. Anyway, so pin it and cut it, and we'll be back. I forgot to mention the little triangle piece. I am intentionally, there are 2, like the original folds are down here. So I am putting the triangle down here where all the selvage yuckies are, because this is still a good sized chunk of remnant fabric that you could, you know, get headbands. Like I have a hair bow pattern you could do this with, or use it in quilting or whatever. It's enough to do something else with, like a smaller project. So anyway, I'm gonna go cut out now, but that's where the triangle goes, and we've got it all pinned. We're going to do a quick iron. You can test your sample, like your little scrap fabric first, just to make sure it doesn't do anything damaging to the fabric. But I'm just going for it. I feel confident that as long as we don't leave the iron there too long, we'll be good. If you plan on washing your drawstring bag, like if it's going to be like a gym bag or something, you want to wash and dry your fabric before you ever cut it, so it can do its shrinking then. Okay, so we got our quick iron done, and we're going to go take it back to the sewing table. As with most fabrics, there's a pretty side and there's a less desirous side. So on the not so pretty side, I mean, if you do your triangles out of a contrasting fabric, like I could have done a bright pink or a yellow, and you want them to be seen, you could put, these are just reinforcing tabs for where the thread goes through, but I don't think this is enhancing for this fabric, so I'm going to hide it. So if you're going to hide it, we turn it where we see is the ugly side, and we're just going to take, the notch is on the top here, so on the side that doesn't have the notch, we're going to put a triangle on each side there. And I'm just going to put a pin in, and we're going to do that on the bottom 2 corners of both of the panels. Once again, this is the notch side, and we're doing it on the opposite of the notch. So I'm using a vibrant pink thread here. Whatever thread you use, make sure that it goes well with your project, especially the bobbin thread, because we're sewing this from the bottom side and we're going to see it from this side. I probably should have used purple, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could see with some contrast, and there is technically pink in here. So we're just doing a straight stitch and we're going really close to the edges. So we're just going to follow the triangle around. I'm lining up with the whole inside of the presser foot, the right side of that. So and I'm stopping before I get all the way to the edge. Make sure the needle's in, and we're going to turn. I did pretty good. I lined up with the foot. I just on a roll today, I guess. All right, and then going again. This was not cut perfectly. I'll blame myself since it was me. Okay, not quite to the end. Okay, now this is a point where if you have very ravelly fabric, these two edges, they will be reinforced with the whole bag. But if you're really worried about this unraveling, you could do a top stitch zigzag to the right of where you can see the triangle from the top now. You can see the pink triangle. That's totally up to you. I'm going to live dangerously because it's the inside of the bag and I'm not really worried about it. But if it's going to get heavy use and you want it to last, I would work a zigzag right across there. So do that to all four corners and then we'll be back. My little triangle sewn on, so we're going to line up with the right sides facing in, the ucky sides facing out, and we've got our notches lined up, and make sure all the triangles are on the bottom. And you don't need to pin across the top above the notches because we're not going to sew there. I'm going to put a pin like this to go, whoa, Joaquina, don't sew past that point because we're not sewing past the notches. And then I'm just going to go along the side down here. You don't have to put a ton of pins in. Same thing across the bottom. Line up your corners. Boom, and then the last side. Once again, make sure your notches are good and snug, and put the, in addition to the dart, just a reminder to not go past there. Okay, it's straight stitch time again. Anything above this pin, so I'm going to go and I'm going to start right in the middle of this dart with notch, not dart, with the right side of the presser foot lined up with the right side of the fabric. Make sure you don't sew over your pin. So start in a straight. First feature. Just remove your pins as you go.